but I'm stupid. I'm gay, but I'm straight. I crop dust in Whole Foods, baby. What it all comes down to.
Hello, everybody.
Wow.
Welcome to day 2 of the Week of Trouble and day 3 of Januwrimo. Today's stream, we are missing a Jod, but she is on her way. Hopefully will appear sometime during the first sprint. And today I'm your host of the Troublemakers. I am Wallissimo. And this is Sprints and Shoptalk, where usually when I'm hosting with the Troublemakers, I come up with a very deliberate set of questions that I've really thought out really well and ahead of time, and that are all along a theme, and then we discuss for a very long time, and I usually get terribly behind in comments. It's a really great time. Would my two currently present co-hosts like to introduce themselves?
Sure. Hi, I'm Kate. I make videos on YouTube, on OtherTube. I haven't streamed in a while, so I'm really excited to be with people and streaming. And I'm currently working on A Closet Full of Cauldrons, which is like my cozy fantasy book that was one of my options for NaNoWriMo, but now there's Januwrimo, so it's what I'm doing.
Perfect.
Nice. I'm Miranda. I actually don't make videos anymore, but that's fine.
That's true.
But you know, we're here. If you're trying to find me, you can find me in the chat of a trouble stream every week. Like that's the old reliable place to find me. But I'm working on a rom-com retelling this Nano. This Januwrimo, not Nano. You know what I mean. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's 6:36 in the morning for me. So like,
and I do appreciate you all being here with me today. The reason I asked these three lovely ladies to join me is because we were on a writing retreat together back in October, and I was like, let's do a little reunion of the writing retreat. And Kate and I both have our little written in the mint mug. So,
oh my God, I need to get mine now.
That's okay.
Okay, it's fine.
And yeah, we're gonna go ahead. Oh, also, I'm working on this Januwrimo. I'm trying to get 10,000 words in 5 different projects in the hope that one of them will spark something within me to continue on and really just get back into writing, as I've been going through a bit of a time. Now, normally when we do sprints and shop talk, we go right into the first question, or we sprint and let people see the question. But today we're just going to go into the first sprint. Again, I totally have all the questions prepared. Don't worry about it. But in honor of Kate, I have something special today. For Christmas, I was gifted a D100.
Yes. Oh my God.
Now, so for people who don't know,
I'm terrified.
Me too. I'm so scared. I can't. Oh, hi. This is our lovely 4th member. This is Jess, the Hexed Library, also known as Jod. She is the deity of our cult. Jod, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello. I literally just got home from dropping my mother off at the airport. I'm Jess. I am also many names, which Wallace has given you, and I'm the Hexed Library, and I post reading, writing, book, and planner-related content on the internet. Yay me.
And related links are, I do believe, listed down below. I might have forgotten to save the edit to the description, so someone let me know if the description only has 1 line and no links. But if it has links, we're good. Also, yes, a pigeon. Love your new hair color, Jess. So good. Also, before I roll, let's say hi to some people. And Jess, would you like to say what you're doing for Januwrimo? Are you participating in Januwrimo? And
I am working on French Grim Reaper because I have to have it to Kate by the end of February, and I'm rewriting the whole thing. So,
woo! It's gonna be good. We're gonna get words today, depending on what the dice decide. Danny is here. Hi, everybody. Katie is here. Pigeon is here, which we know. Hi, Violet. Hi, Rachel. Hi, Anna. Stieg is here, and he says, get ready to be psychoanalyzed. Casey is here. Anna says the cult vibes in the thumbnail are just chef's kiss. The
I
thumbnail
hadn't
can
seen
be.
it. I had to go check it out. I was like, oh my god, wow.
It is a Katie Ann original. She made the thumbnail, and
I can tell because
never
I sent
top
you
it.
a different picture.
Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. Caitlin was here, but happy day 2 of Januwrimo. And Flora and the Fawn is here. Laura is here. We've got a great group of people here. All right. Do we want to have set rules? So, okay, wait, let me explain. I was in the middle of explaining when Jada ride. So this is a D100, which basically means it's 100-sided dice. When Kate does her Twitch streams, she on Fridays, what's the day that you do the D100?
It was usually Fridays. Yeah.
Yes. She will roll this, and the dice decide the length of the sprint. Do we want to have an upper limit? Like, is it, if it's above, a certain number, we just divide the number by 2, or do we just really want to say, let the dice decide?
I think there's also should be a lower limit where if we get below a certain point, we multiply by 2.
I don't know. Part of me is like, if it's a 1-minute sprint, it's a 1-minute sprint.
I know, like,
well,
an hour and 40 minute sprint is like,
oof, it's that's not possible because it's 100 minutes.
That's what 100 minutes is.
Yeah, you're correct.
Okay, so if it's over 50, we divide it in half.
Yeah.
If it's under 5, we double it.
Okay.
So maybe if it's above 45 or 60, you divide by 2. I like the idea if it's above.
There's too much math. It's too early.
Yeah.
And if it's below 10, you times by 2. Okay. Divide. A lot of people are saying divide by 2. And then Malin says make a total sprints limit. So if you roll very high, you can say the next sprint will. Or this, if it's really high, it could just tell us how much we're sprinting in total for the whole stream.
You know what? And then we just go with the vibes.
Yeah.
It's like a tarot. It's less of a dice roll, more of a tarot card. Like we take what we need.
Sure, because that is so true. I'm not as brave as Kate, because I'm so scared. I'm so scared right now, you guys. So Anna says, I'm rooting for 100 minutes so I can go to my doctor's appointment and you'll still be. Ooh, okay, fine. Okay, we're rolling it. And I'm sorry, I don't have Kate's special setup where I'll be able to show you guys what the roll is. So I could just be lying the entire time. Here we go.
Oh yeah, just lie. Who cares?
Yeah, I'll just lie. Oh, it got stuck. It's gonna get stuck. Do I have a dice roller? Okay, there it goes. What? I don't even know what Kate, how do you do this? Oh, okay. It's a 13-minute sprint. And all of our other sprints will be normal. I just wanted to have one in honor of Kate and in honor of this amazing D100 I got for Christmas. So I'm
Taylor Swift said, happy January 3rd. I don't know. It's 1-3. Oh my god, a 13-minute sprint on 1-3.
Oh my god. It's actually amazing.
Does that mean we do a 13-13 sprint?
Oh yeah, we'll do a palindrome also in honor of Kate. Everything is in honor of Kate, by the way. Miranda and Jess, y'all can suck it. Hold on 1 second.
That is not anything new for any other day of the year, so here we are.
Where'd she go? What happened?
So sorry to leave you guys abandoned at the very start of everything. Okay, a 13-minute, 13-second sprint. Let's share my screen. Do I have it? Is this it? Is it sharing?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. And start. Go get a coffee. Go get ready. Open your files. Beep, 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 beep. That is the end of our first sprint. We had some people arrive. Hi, Kelly. Hi, Elaine. How did everybody do?
I wrote 508 words.
Oh my god.
Dang.
Oh my
15 minutes.
God. Killing it.
Whoa.
Miranda, how'd you do?
You saw the 1 million word goal in that spreadsheet and you said, okay, I'll do it myself. I had breakfast and coffee. I finished my piece of toast that I was having for breakfast with 50 seconds left in the sprint. So good for me.
Perfectly
Coffee.
timed.
You know, so good.
Kate, how about you?
I got 281 words, like a pigeon.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
How fun is that? Oh, right. Sorry. Oh my Josh. Wow. Wow. Peggy got 244. And Danny read a chapter. I want to finish this book before I get to writing for the day. And everybody kind of seemed to be doing their initial chores. So excellent. It's time though now to to dive right into the Shoptalk part of Sprints and Shoptalk. And today's theme, we're going to be, I'm hearing an echo. Jod, I think it might be you.
Muted.
Yeah, no, I see that. You're fine, Jess. It's okay. But today's theme is going to be community, and it specifically is going to be a community meta-analysis in honor of Januwrimo. And we're basically, because Januwrimo is something that is hosted by the lovely Katie Ann, by the way, who is not linked down below because you can't ask that many things of me, you guys. And I just kind of wanted to get people's thoughts on AuthorTube or any writing community they have participated in. So the first question, which is actually 3 questions because I don't know how to edit myself.
You were also like, I can't come up with questions, comes up with 3 questions in one.
I might have called somebody during that sprint and gotten their help coming up with questions.
Fair enough.
And also,
community.
Exactly. Oh my gosh, Miranda, you're so brilliant in making those connections. But I would like to reiterate that the questions I'm going to be asking of my co-hosts are also questions I'm going to be asking of the chat. Please feel free to answer them as to the level at which you're comfortable answering them, and I will try and interact with the comments. I probably won't be able to interact with as many comments as I normally do, just because we do have quite a bit more people at this stream than normal. So I apologize if I don't get to your comment. But our first questions are, what was the catalyst for you seeking out a writing community? What benefits have you received? And what have been some unintended consequences? And Kate, we normally start with your position and then go clockwise, if that's okay.
Yeah, that's totally fine. I was trying to think of some unintended consequences, but maybe I'll come up with something as I answer. The catalyst was I didn't have any writing friends in real life. I'd done NaNoWriMo in Dallas. I tried to find a community up there and didn't really it was fine. But I was also working corporate and I just didn't have enough time and didn't succeed at NaNoWriMo. And so it was a little bit harder to find a place there. And I'd had a great community before when I was in college. So I turned to the internet, as you do. And that was basically it. And I succeeded. Those are my benefits. I totally found some lifelong friends and some great critique partners. And I get to be the beta reader of some people. So it's been great. I'm still trying to think of unintended consequences and I don't have one yet.
That's totally fine. I think that's such an interesting point that you made about having had that community in college. I think college for so many people can be one of those last places where you really are in such a concentrated area with so many people who are your age and potentially have similar interests to you. And I think it's really difficult outside of a setting like that to find people except on the internet. The internet can lead to that similar little bubbles like that. But so in terms of unintended consequences, I'll just kind of ask questions that are general unintended consequences of the internet. But do you feel like you, within the communities you found, have found yourself like in an echo chamber at all within a writing community type perspective? I don't know. That's just a potential unintended consequence. I'm not specifically calling you out. I'm not like, Kate, look at yourself.
No. I think that's probably true. I think especially it was more true when I first started on AuthorTube. I think there was like a joke that was like completely serious where it was just a bunch of like white women in their like 20s and 30s. I say as we on the screen are white women in our 20s and 30s, but I do think it has definitely gotten more diverse. And so I also think I've done a little bit of a better job at making friends who actually write outside of my genre or trying different genres. You learn a lot through reading genres that you normally wouldn't. And so I think that's actually the last part that I'm still missing, is that mostly people writing YA, a little bit of, mystery sometimes, but.
What's something that you've learned from someone who writes in a genre different than your own?
When I did the horror anthology with Cam, he put it together, which was really cool. And I'm excited to see more people do that in the future. It's just the way that horror is told is completely different than most stories. The like atmospheric nature of it is so important and actually like takes precedence over other things. And so it was just really interesting taking something I've learned from there and trying to infuse it in like more genres I'm more into personally. So
do you feel like your writing improved when you kind of remembered to pay attention to the atmospheric element of things?
For sure. It's also something I'm still working on, but it definitely was eye-opening in those moments to be like, oh, I'm really bad at this. So yeah, it has been, I'm working on it. That's this year, no more white room syndrome. So.
Oh, I love that. Oh, you just made a video about that.
Yeah. It's like my big goal for the year.
Oh, I love that. Everybody go watch Kate's most recent video. I love that. I had another follow-up question, but of course I can't remember it. I think it was whatever. Moving on. Thank you so much for that fabulous answer. Miranda, same question to you.
Yeah, cool. First of all, speaking of white room syndrome, I just need to point out how satisfying it is, Kate, that your bookshelves line up perfectly with the framing of the camera. Like the really top lines up so nicely, and then the side. It is just chef's kiss. So good. Anyway, sorry. Speaking of white room syndrome, back to the topic at hand. I was taking down notes while you were talking, so I made sure to like not forget what I was saying. But like, I think the community part of like AuthorTube and stuff like that kind of came on accident for me, because I just sort of like went to YouTube looking for like tutorials and like lessons and kind of like learning about storytelling and stuff, and then I saw that there was the community happening, and I was like, I want to be a part of this. It wasn't necessarily like I need a community, let me go like to YouTube and find. Does that make sense? Like it wasn't. It was kind of accidental for me. But so many.
Well, wait, sorry. Can I pause on that? Yeah. And so since it was an accidental discovery, I guess my pressure point will be, what was the catalyst for you to decide to actively join it then? Interesting.
I think wanting to be a part of it, but obviously like the follow-up question for that is like, why though? Like, why did you want to? I think like seeing, it was like live streams and stuff like this, like sprints and stuff like that. Like I think using it as like a tool for productivity and accountability, frankly, at first, like in live stream chats. I think like seeing, like Laura and Kevin's sprints that they did, like those were kind of one of the first ones that I was really into and like in the chat and stuff. And I was like, oh, I want to start making videos there. So that was like the springboard. I guess you could say.
Okay.
Did that answer your question?
Yes, it did. Thank you very much.
Great. Now I have two more of your questions to answer.
Yes. Sorry.
I feel like there's so many benefits and probably plenty of benefits that like I don't even know. Like I think that one of the main benefits that has come about is like being able to find lots of different like CPs and stuff, like Kate said, and then you kind of level up from that and like learning from everyone else. Like, I think there's that learning element, but then there's also the like accountability. Like, I don't know if it would be crazy to think like if I didn't have the community, like would I still be writing, which implies that I'm writing now, which like touch
Excuse
and
me,
go.
you are.
Touch and go.
You are.
Anyway, that's my answer there. Like, I think leveling up skills, learning from like what everyone else is good at, because everyone has their own little special skills that they bring to things. Like for me, maybe it's structure or something like that, but from a Katie, maybe it's prose. From, I don't know, I feel like everyone else is prose because I don't think my prose is that good. Like, anyway, yeah, I think all of those things are benefits. Any follow-up questions?
I'm gonna wait to hear your unintended consequences and see if there are connections between the two, and then I'll do follow-up.
I think for unintended consequences, I would have to say the distraction. Like, I think if you're thinking about it as, I don't know, there's times when you jump on a call for sprints or something and you end up just chatting for a very long time. We've all been there. It's happened to the best of us. But I think it's important to sort of reframe those things as less distractions and like more learning opportunities, and like you're still getting benefits even when you are distracted from something. Sometimes you need to be distracted. Sometimes you need that little spark to think of something else.
Yeah.
But that would be my unintended consequence. Like, if I had never gotten into the writing community, I wouldn't watch tennis, and that's my number one distraction right now. So
the amount of tennis that you watch is truly mind-boggling, I will say.
Deeply upsetting, but like, true. Anyway.
Brilliant. I guess, let's see. I feel like I have to do a follow-up question.
You don't have to. You could just
No, I
like,
do.
Perfect. Move on.
No, this is like kind of very much a tangent. It's almost like its own question in of itself. But I'm going to specifically ask you, Miranda, at what point do you feel like, and maybe this is more appropriate. Sorry, Jess. I don't know what I've done, but at what point do you feel like what was once a writing community graduates into just like a group of friends, where suddenly it's not about, I mean, not that like a community of writers, you go into it with a certain expectation of what you guys will get from each other. And then, like you were saying, though, at a certain point, then the calls turn into something else and you're doing other things and it's not about writing anymore. So where is that line for you?
I think it probably just depends on like the person and stuff, but I think it's probably, there's probably like a tipping point there when you're on the seesaw where like eventually you start talking more about other stuff than you do
like tennis.
About writing. About tennis, about life,
right?
About anything else. Yeah, I think that's probably part of it. And I also want to say, like, the tennis started off as book things because
that is true.
Tennis book.
That's true.
Come on, everyone. Like,
true.
let's. Yeah, exactly. Hey, the tennis is also writing related. So, at a certain point, you start talking about the other things too.
Yeah. Also, Kate and Jess, if you guys have commentary and would like to jump in or ask your own follow-up questions, please jump in. I don't want it to just be like, I know when I'm doing with the troublemakers, it's usually me having a back and forth conversation with just one of them at one time, but that's because they are impossible to manage. I would love it if it was like a four-way conversation.
I know the follow-up questions are hard because we're actually giving you straight answers.
I know, and I'm obsessed. Like sometimes I'll ask like, sorry, Grape, I'll ask Devasia a question and she'll just be like, no. Like, okay, moving on. So, well, thank you, Miranda, for those thought out answers.
So welcome.
Jessica, Jod.
Jodify
us with your wisdom.
Okay, I will jodify you with your wisdom, your own wisdom.
Oh, great.
I did not seek out a writing community. It was an accident.
Okay.
I came to YouTube to seek out a reading community.
Oh. Oh.
and then started a YouTube channel as part of the reading community, and then found I was like, I guess I thought I was a conquistador, discovering America for the first time, even though people had already been here. And I was like, I could bring in the writing thing. No one else clearly has ever done that, with all of the confidence of a mediocre white man. And then was like, oh, there are other people here. That's cool. I should talk to them. It literally was just that. It was like I walked into a room with the confidence of a mediocre white man and found people who also wrote books. That is what happened.
So, okay, my follow-up question here, and honestly, I think this is such an interesting analysis on BookTube in general of reading can be such a solitary activity, and yet it seems to be an activity that does garner a lot of communities. People do book clubs and stuff like that. So I guess my thought for you is, why were you seeking out a reading community initially? What was it that you craved within you?
Oh, okay.
To word it as weirdly as possible.
To answer it as weirdly as possible, in a way that I don't know that half of you will understand. But Katie gets me, and that's all that matters.
Okay.
I had read The Infernal Devices by Cassandra Clare, and the last book has like a 100-page epilogue that is the most destroying, distraught, heart-wrenching thing I've ever read in my entire life. And I don't know anyone who like had read that in real life. So I needed to find somebody to talk to about it, and quick.
Okay.
And that was why I came to YouTube.
And I mean, you were seeking out videos, but then something pushed you to start making your own. It's just...
Yes, because I felt like if I was looking for that, that maybe someone else would be too. I'm old. I don't know if you know this about me, but I'm old.
Please.
And I didn't know that YouTube was even really a thing. Because when I was younger, when YouTube was a thing, it was just like, you posted videos of like your kids or your pets doing funny things, and like that was it. It was like the Vine of our day, where you did like short videos. Like there was nobody doing what we do now. And it had probably been 5 years since I had ever even clicked on the YouTube website.
Okay.
So again, with all of the confidence of a mediocre white man, I ran in like a conquistador, thinking that I was like doing something fantastic that thousands upon thousands upon thousands of other people had already done.
And then, parts 2 and 3 of the question.
Parts 2 and 3 of the question. What benefits have I received is I get to hang out with Wallace at a lake house in the fall. That's my benefit. That's my number one benefit. I get to hang out with Wallace in a cabin and get away from my family and this cat. And it's definitely is the writing community is the benefit of it. Can you not put your butt in my face?
I just love the tail, just like push.
She is having a time, as always.
Oh my god, bonus, you became a deity.
That is true. Or is that an unintended consequence? I suddenly have all this power that I don't know what to do with.
You're not wrong. But yeah, I think it's just like the community overall is the benefit of looking for a community or finding a community. The benefit is the community. I'll never say it's helped me write, but I also won't say it's not helped me write, because I'm still just the person I was before who doesn't write things unless they feel like it. And so I don't know that I have had any unintended consequences sans the funny ones of becoming a deity.
Miranda has a question.
Do you think you feel like, you said like you don't write unless you feel like it. Like, do you feel like it more often or less often because of the community that's around you? Like, do you think it has an impact on what you feel like doing?
No.
Okay.
In the words of Grape, no. Merlin, that microphone is supposed to stay flat on the desk. Thank you. Appreciate that. Because I don't have it's a thing. It happens when you get old. You'll get there one day. I just don't care what other people are doing or like if they care what I'm doing. So, I mean, I go to writing sprints all the time and will like watch YouTube videos while people do writing sprints and then talk in the chat because I can. Could I be writing? Yeah, but I don't feel like it. And sometimes I'll be watching sprints and people will be talking. And instead of listening to them talk, I'll just turn it off and go sprint by myself. So, like,
Wait, does owing me your project encourage you more, or does the fact that we keep moving the date back change anything?
to be fair, we haven't moved the date back this
No,
time.
that's what's set.
And last year we moved it back because Melissa got sick in January. So we were like, let's take an extra month because clearly that's going to solve all the world's problems. We did fail miserably for our deadline for October, though.
We did. But this time, does owing
this
it to me this time?
Am I working on it because of that? Probably. Maybe. I don't know. Excuse you.
Well, thank you. That was also a very illuminating answer across the board. We're going to go into some of the comments which I've starred. We start off with Summer Honey, Danny, who says, I graduated in 2020 and losing the classroom setting combined with the pandemic was so isolating. Now I love having so many people to talk to. And I think this next point is a fabulous one. But sometimes it feels like I have an obligation to talk about my projects, whether I want to or not, which usually I do. But anyway, I think that's a fascinating unintended consequence, and was talking about this exact thing with somebody yesterday, and the idea that sometimes talking about your project too much, then when it's time to sit down and write it, suddenly it feels bigger than it was before, and suddenly it feels outside of you. And I think that is very interesting, especially considering even though AuthorTube is it's like a little micronation, it still is in a public forum. And I do think that there is a difference between hanging out with a small group of writer friends versus posting videos where you're discussing your projects. And it does create a sense of pressure. So I think that is really interesting because it's a sense of accountability, but also a sense of pressure. And when you are in the very early stages of writing where so much can change at any time, that sense of accountability can sometimes be a detriment because you feel like you have to stay accountable to things that maybe otherwise you would have given yourself the freedom to switch around. So I just thought that was a really interesting point from Danny. Have any of you guys experienced something like that where you've had a project that you've talked a lot about and you feel emotionally that you're ready to move on, but the pressure of the fact that you've talked so much about it keeps you working on it? Kate is nodding.
Yeah, I was like, especially earlier on too, I had this problem more often. I think there were projects I definitely would have like put to the side sooner than I did, just because I talked about it and other people were excited. And you still have the enthusiasm for the project, even when you've accepted that like you're not in the place to write it for whatever reason. So it can be difficult when it feels like there's extra enthusiasm coming from other places. Yeah, I've definitely felt that.
Malin says, same as Kate, I didn't have any IRL friends who were writers and really needed to chat with people who would understand what it was like. Fair enough. Nikki says, funny enough, I was still only painting when I found the AuthorTube community because of productivity sprints. Started to write again was both a benefit and unintended consequence. I never thought I'd have a dual creative career, and sometimes it's frustrating, but also wonderful. That's fair, of having kind of your attention split in different directions. Inksteady says, as a stay-at-home mom, I needed interactions with other adults. Fair enough. And when I saw people on YouTube talking about writing, I knew it was a space I wanted to be in. Def got the friends I was looking for, but had to learn not everyone is who they say they are, but bad actors reveal themselves. Oh my God, Inksteady, spill the tea. No, I'm just kidding.
Please.
Yeah,
My
yeah.
mouths are open.
Yeah. Mullen says, the benefits, I never wrote as much as I did since last year meeting you guys. Motivation and challenges and suddenly getting 2 more projects than I had before. That's fabulous. Katie says, I lost my writing community from college. That seems to be a thread because of the pandemic. And the benefits are seriously good friends and so many different kinds of friends. Creative energy in the studio is good, but the consequences that my need to share makes it harder to write. I guess I love being secretive, but I'm so bad at it. That's what
Clearly.
Katie like loves being secretive, but she also like deeply craves validation. So like,
Well-
it's really a struggle.
Well, to come to her defense a little bit, first of all, there's
Okay.
not a single person who uploads videos to YouTube who doesn't crave validation in one form or the other. So,
Fair, true.
But also, I
That's
think
why I don't upload videos anymore.
fair enough. But what Katie, I think, really thrives on is creative collaboration, which we'll get to in the second question if we ever get to it. And I think Katie is just so good at bouncing ideas and building off of someone else's creative energy. And so I think that is really, get ready to be psychoanalyzed, Katie. I think that's really a hard line to balance for her and for potentially a lot of people, is the idea, the need to keep something just for yourself, but also the desire to talk about it and get other people's thoughts on it and build from those thoughts. So, but again, we'll talk about that in the second question after the next sprint, which is coming soon, I promise. A pigeon says, I decided I wanted to do nano back in 2019 and found Kate's vlogs. They kept me going through the month and I actually managed to finish my first book. So thank you for that, Kate. That's so amazing.
Oh my god,
That's huge.
That's so precious.
That's incredible. The first time I started writing was 2018 nano after hearing about it in a bullet journal video. I stumbled upon writing sprints and was hooked. I received friends, beta readers, and camaraderie. As an unintended side effect, I started an AuthorTube channel and started reading again. Also, there seems to be a trend to write more YA in AuthorTube. I haven't written a YA since my first project. Glad that subconscious pressure to write for that age group is less prevalent in the back of my mind. That's also another really interesting unintended consequence of community, is the like, not so much the what did I say, Kate, when I was talking to you? A not thought bubble. What's the word? I was like a echo chamber. Like not necessarily an echo chamber, but like a desire to conform a little bit. Also the desire to outperform. You know, you have people who are, you know, not to bring Katie in it again, but Katie literally just released a video about completing a 500,000 wordy by accident. Okay. Anyway. And like, obviously the community, we celebrate that, but also I think for some that could be oh, maybe I should try to do that too. And maybe that's not the most healthy thing to do. Not maybe, it's not the most healthy thing to do, Catherine. No, just kidding. Kelly says, I found the writing online writing community because I decided to write a novel over the pandemic and wanted help with it. The benefit is that I've improved as a writer. The unintended consequence is that I'm writing a second novel that I never thought I had in me. That's great though. Malin says, unintended consequence, I struggle to read as many books now because I spend way more time writing. That's also fair. The idea of that give and take of, you know, there's only so many hours in the day. And 10 of them from Miranda are consumed by tennis. Malin says, like Jod, I started off looking for...
Sorry. I
Go
also
for it.
have a job, Wallace.
Oh, no, that's fair. I only read you because I know
because I'm here.
You know it's from a place of love. And you don't deserve all the reads. Mullen says, like Jod, I started off looking for booktuber friends and ended up with writing friends. Jess and Kate did a video I watched where they talked about Januwrimo and the rest is history. This is our anniversary of Mullen joining our cult, and we are so happy for it, truly. Okay.
I really feel like Mullen made the cult like 10% cooler at least.
Oh, completely. Yeah. Totally. Yeah. As soon as I saw her videos, I was like, I want this one in our group. Yeah, unintended consequence. You're coming home with me. Amal says unintended consequence. We're now all stuck in a cult. I would call that a benefit. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
I mean, it's a cult with me as a deity. Of course, that's a benefit. Like,
it's true. Violet says doing YouTube gave me confidence to take myself seriously as a writer, but when other people started to see me that way, now I suffer from imposter syndrome.
That's rough.
I wish I could pin this comment on the on this video. That is incredible. Casey says, as I happened upon the writing community last Nano, I wasn't writing at the time, but I enjoyed the community of the streams. I've started to lean more into my creative side. I haven't written much, but I've got a couple brain dump files going on that I work on occasionally. All the friends I've gained because of streams / Discord is the main benefit for sure. One unintended consequence is I'm less productive during the work week because of streams, but I try really hard to stay productive while I listen. Okay, Casey, we'll keep you accountable. We'll keep you accountable from now on. We'll be like, are you working? Are you working? Danny says, I feel like joining AuthorTube has made me look for outside validation less. Once I saw that other people were going to support me, I started to realize my own opinions of myself are more important. Oh my gosh, I think that's such a great reflection. I don't know. I don't have any follow-up on that. I just think that's brilliant. Kate, this is Katie's PSA. Please do not do a half mil wording. That video is a warning.
Grape and I are trying to do a 1/4 mil wordy so we can together have done a half.
Brilliant. It's gorgeous. I love this for you.
I mean, you know.
Kelly says, I have happily joined the cult of Jot and I come bearing pizza. Oh my gosh, hi. First time sprinting in a while. Welcome. We're doing sprints in Shoptalk, which is where we have a set of questions that were very previously come up with. And then we sprint, which speaking of, it's time to get into the next sprint. And of course, this is a sprint in Shoptalk. This is a Wallissimo stream. I'm gonna hype myself up. We're doing goop. We're doing goop tris. This is a timer that I made of the lake that Jess was talking about earlier. So I'm bringing you all here with me. This is a perfect Pomodoro, a morning on the dock. Can everybody see it? Is it there? Let me full screen it.
Yeah, it's
Not
there.
to go full like basic girl on Instagram, but like take
Yeah.
me back, you guys. Like
Is it October yet? Is it time?
All right. Happy sprinting, 25 minutes. have my headphones in, so I don't know if you guys could hear the noise of this sprint ending. Oh, you could?
Yeah.
Oh, well, then let's finish it. Gorgeous, stunning. She is the moment. Stop sharing. All right. Our Jod has left us, but it is predicted that one day she shall cometh again. How was that sprint for everybody? Kate, how did you do? Also, love the tiny little Christmas tree in the background. That is so adorable.
Thank you. I am going to have to put it up here soon, but it's keeping it on for as long as I can. I did pretty good. I think I got like 400 words. So I'm feeling solid. I'm like into the chapter now. Like the first sprint was kind of like,
yeah.
Now I'm into it.
It's always good when you kind of hit the flow.
Yes.
The creative flow. Miranda, how'd you do?
I did pretty well. I went downstairs and got some water because I woke up with a headache this morning and I keep forgetting to like have, drink enough water and like have ibuprofen and stuff. Anyway, it's fine. We're fine.
I'm so sorry to make you sprint and Shoptalk with me when you're not feeling well.
No, that's fine. Like I mostly forgot about it and then we stopped talking and I was like, oh yeah, my head hurts. I remember now. So I have water now and I was working on my Google Calendar and stuff like that and kind of organizing my life. I do have like my first day back at work since before Christmas starts in, roughly an hour. So we have the Tuesday scaries, everyone.
Well, this sprinting session will end before then, so you have some moment to decompress before the workday begins. And we, of course, so appreciate you being here with us today.
Yeah, it's more of a recompression, I would say.
Oh, okay.
Like this is the decompress. Like I am decompressed, and the compression is slowly starting, but it's fine.
Oh no,
we're fine.
I'm so sorry. Jess, how did you do?
I did some organization things and some spreadsheets and wrote about another 400 words.
You are killing it. You're at almost 1,000 words for the stream.
Yeah, my goal for today is only 750, so like I'm technically over my goal for the day. I'm actually technically about 30 words shy of where I should be at the end of tomorrow.
Oh my god, Jess.
I had a great day Sunday. So
amazing. Oh, it's such a good thing to have a great first day of the year too. So that is iconic. We love that for you.
And I already pre-scheduled not writing on Friday because I have a best friend date on Friday. So
you're still gonna come to the troublestream, right?
Yeah, it'll be after work. So
okay, good.
Some of us have jobs, Wallace. We have to go to work.
I know. And I'm so appreciative that some of us rearranged their schedules so they could be here for this little reunion. So I'm very, very grateful to everybody. And I did decently. I'm not doing like sprint word counts. I'm just doing, at the end of the day, I update my Januwrimo sheet for where I am in the story. But I did decide that what I had written so far was currently in the first person present perspective. And I decided I'm changing it to third person limited past. So I just went through and made a little edits, but I did add some more dialogue. It was a good sprint. It was a good sprint. Let's see. We
it's good
have
to realize that now. And
yes, truly
when the draft is done.
I'm literally I'm a page and a half into the story with a lot of like extra pages of world building. So it was the perfect time to realize that this is the headspace I wanted to be in. A pigeon got 457 words. Amazing. Gigi got 249. Kelly got 157. I have hair stuck in my lipstick. Danny says, I read 2 more chapters, only 2 left to go. Then I'm done with this book. Godspeed. Jodspeed. Grayson says, I'm working on copy edits this morning. We will get back to brainstorming this afternoon. Simone says, came in a little late, but got 345. Good morning, everyone. Read'em caught up on book reviews they were behind on. Malin sneaked in 163 before working for the rest. Violet got 204 and an iced coffee. Elaine with 368. Fabulous. Flora the Fawn did 177. All right. So our second question, and most likely our final one, given the level of discussion we've been having and my level of getting behind in the comments, and the fact that we need to do one more sprint at least, is kind of doing even a further deep dive into the idea of communities. And we're going even smaller. We're going with micro communities within this micro community, and kind of asking you to reflect on your interpersonal relationships with other writers. So when I ask this question of how open are you to allowing other writers to influence your work with their ideas, I'm not saying, you know, when you read like Neil Gaiman or Jane Austen, does their writing style come into your voice, or do you take ideas and inspiration from other writers? What I'm specifically saying, within our community, do you share your work with other writers? Do you brainstorm? Do you bounce ideas off with them? What is that experience like for you? And if you have any experience co-writing a story, I feel like this is a topic a lot of you have already probably discussed on other platforms. I'm sure Kate and Jess have done an AuthorTube chat specifically about co-writing, but it's fine. What is your experience, and if you have any? So that's kind of the vibe of the question I'm asking today.
Yeah. I have a co-writer where we write like cute little rom-coms. And I'd actually say that going through the co-writing experience, like literally plotting out the novel together and doing so much of it, has helped me be more open with my non-co-written stories and sharing them earlier. So it's just kind of accepting that like other people might have you know, ideas that are going to make it like really just level things up in a way that my brain just wouldn't see at first. I still usually don't share a lot of my story ideas until it's like a little bit more solidified. But yeah, I think the co-writing has helped me be more open.
When did you first get your co-writer?
Oh, that's a good question. She's my best friend, and we both just like writing and reading, and so we were like, oh, maybe we should try this. Sorry, I have my alarm going off. I want to say the first time we tried it was back in like, I think we got the idea in 2015, and it took like years, like 5 years to finish that story through all of its trajectories. So I think it also taught me like a different kind of patience that you might need with a co-writer too. But since then, we've done a lot more, and they're much quicker. So it was just a learning curve.
Yeah. And so having had almost 8 years of experience with a co-writer, what would you say are like the things people need to foster within themselves in order to enter into a co-writing relationship with someone?
Yeah.
Patience being one of them.
Yeah, patience. That's a good question. I think I don't even know what I would call this, but I think eventually you get to a place where you like have to pick and choose your battles. And because you're working on this thing together to create one whole thing, not all of your ideas, even if you absolutely adore them and love them and genuinely believe they're the best for the story, are going to be accepted by the other person, because you're commingling two people's visions of something. Yeah, so I don't know, acceptance. I don't know what that would be, but yeah.
And I mean, so from my experience, typically, if, you know, I'm not sure I could ever co-write something with someone, because I am such a control freak. And I feel like if the story doesn't go the way I envision it going, I would lose my passion for it. Again, this is all conjecture. I don't know that for sure. But sorry, I got really sidetracked by this comment, because the comment is, this is so relevant for me because my next project is kind of co-written. But I thought that it said this is so irrelevant for me. And I was like, rude. Why would you comment this? Anyway, it doesn't matter. Grayson, I was so glad that this is a helpful conversation for you. But so I kind of wanted to pick your brains about that, of, since you touched on it, when you have this shining idea for a story, but it doesn't work with your co-writer, and so the story goes in a direction that you weren't rooting for, how does that affect your relationship to the story?
Yeah, I think it's, you know, I think it's ever evolving. I think especially as you figure out exactly how you're going to plot out the story and do a lot of like the early elements, because I used to pants things, and actually working with my co-writer, I was like, oh, you actually have to plot stuff out to like work with someone else.
Mhm.
So I think you usually know pretty early on, and I think you could bail then if you're like, this is not what I want it to be. I also think
Yeah.
as writers, we love to explore so many different options. So if it starts sort of veering into a direction that I'm not as interested in, I think that just means now you have this other concept that you get to personally play with. And now it's just more about the journey with this one.
I think that's brilliant. I think once again, I had a follow-up question and it just goes and it just flies away like a little butterfly. Oh, right. I wanted to bring it kind of back out of co-writer and specifically into the idea of letting other writers influence your work with their ideas. I know you said that you don't really share with people until things are solidified, but have you ever had an experience like that where you're sharing your idea and another writer was like, oh, and what if X, Y, and Z, and then you ended up incorporating that into your story?
Yeah, I think for sure. I mean, I think some of the CP work that Jess and I have done, she'll have brought something up. And because you think you know the story so well, sometimes what you see and what you actually convey to someone else is a totally different thing. And so they'll have thought of something based off of the message they received and not what you were trying to send sometimes. And so her bringing up certain things, sometimes I'm like, I didn't even think about that because this thing was so much more rigid in my mind. Yeah, so I think it's helped with that. I don't know about my own process if I could ever share with someone before the first draft is done, but maybe that's something I should challenge myself to do more.
Wow. So like, and share by like, what do you mean by share? Like share the writing itself or just share like even talking about it with somebody?
It's this weird thing with making videos because I feel like I share a lot sometimes, but also it's like very surface level stuff in videos oftentimes. So I'm trying to do this like alpha reader experiment with my brother where we exchange stories that are like pretty early on. Like I'm sending him Under the Influence, what I worked on for piano. After this weekend, like a single draft, and I'm like barely scraping by trying to edit it before I send it to him. And like, hopefully this is still the trajectory that it ends up with. So yeah, I'm pushing myself.
I gotcha. And then on the kind of the flip side, and I'll ask this flipped version to both Miranda and Jess as well. So we've kind of discussed how open you are to allowing other writers to influence your work, but also how do you view yourself as someone who offers other ideas to other writers? Like, do you hold on to your ideas or do you, offer freely ideas to other people? How would you categorize yourself?
I feel like, I'm happy to share other ideas. I feel like I have too many ideas. So usually I'd be like, please take anything. But also I never want to step on toes. And I think there's a way of sharing ideas sometimes. And it can be frustrating if you're early in the process, feel like this sounds just like XYZ thing that already exists. Like there's a balance to, I think, sharing some things from your own experience. So,
yeah. All right, Miranda. The hot seat is open for you.
I feel it. It's real toasty. So I feel like I am pretty open to like letting other writers influence my work, influence their like ideas and stuff with their ideas. I think it depends on the idea, right? Like I think if it's a good one, sure.
Yeah.
If it's a bad one, then I'm not necessarily going to take it on board. Like I think you just have to be kind of discerning in that way, and like not necessarily a bad one, but if it doesn't fit with the idea that like the idea you have of what you want the story to be, you just kind of have to have that like vision more clear to decide what you can take on and what you don't want to take on. I feel like I run into trouble when I don't have that super clear vision, and then I get this like decision paralysis moment of like, do I want to take this on or do I not want to take this on? So sometimes I feel like it's almost a little too influenced, but I don't know, it kind of depends on the project, depends on what stage we're in.
How do you see yourself in the past, like getting out of that decision paralysis moment?
That's a great question.
Thank you.
Usually it's a deadline situation. Usually it's
Oh,
like,
okay.
okay, we gotta just like pull the trigger, make something happen, which I'm usually pretty good at, like respecting a deadline and being, if I have one set, and being like, okay, I just need to make a choice here.
And you're good
Yeah,
at respecting
definitely deadlines help.
like personal deadlines that you've set for yourself, or do they have to be
Yeah,
external?
which you might be like, are you though? And I'm like, I actually
No.
am, because
No,
I
I
don't
totally.
set them very often.
Okay, that's fair. No, I was not trying to be like, in my experience, like I has no comment on that. I just was saying, for me, I can set all the personal deadlines until the cow comes home. But the thing that works for me is when I have some sort of external pressure. Like the 2 times I have successfully finished a novel is because it was a gift for somebody. One was a Christmas gift and the other was a Halloween gift. And it's because I needed to get the book to them by a specific date to make it make sense. So those are, yeah. And then a lot of my short stories, the only reason I finished was because I needed to make videos about them. And a lot of them I never even made videos for. So yeah, I wish I had that power. Is there? Because a lot of that chocolate is mucho expired.
The prompts aren't expired.
That's a good point. But yeah, so I wish I had that ability to set internal deadlines and stick to them. That's, I think, a great ability. And so what is your personal experience with co-writing, Miranda?
I don't have any. I've never done it. I feel like Katie and I have kind of co-brainstormed for sure. Like, and we kind of came up with our ideas that we were like, this would be very fun to co-write one day. But I think our issue was sort of like timing and like always being working on different projects and stuff. So don't know if we'll actually end up doing that. But even the process of like co-brainstorming, I thought was very helpful to like see how other people come up with their ideas and how they kind of synthesize together and just like build off the sort of brainstorming stage with other people.
Absolutely.
And like we've done that too, Wallace. Like you helped me kind of more in the brainstorming stage of things. So like not necessarily co-writing, but co-brainstorming.
Sure. But with Katie, it was with the potential intention to actually, the end goal was to co-write a book together. Yeah. Theoretically. So when you were in that process of brainstorming with that intention of co-writing, how do you feel like your ability to cede control was? Do you feel like,
It's not great.
Okay. Love the self-awareness.
It's not great.
So good.
Look,
why do you think that is?
Because I'm an Aries and no further questions. Thanks.
Okay.
No, I'm kidding. But I think that's, I don't know, like it's at that point, like it's actually not as hard because we haven't actually done, like the book does not exist. So there's not like something to give up yet. We just brainstormed it. So like TBD on if it ever gets written, like then there will be something to like give up or an actual product there, but like there's not. So
that's fair.
But yeah, not good at like giving up the control there. Anyway.
And then the same kind of flip question that I gave to Kate to you, that how are you with giving ideas to other authors?
I think
writers.
I don't know. I feel like often my issue is like I don't trust my ideas as well. So I don't know. Like maybe I'll have them but not necessarily share them. Okay. But I also definitely do, I don't know, like co-brainstorm, come up with ideas, ask questions.
Do you find that experience of community to be a rewarding one? Of that, like, creative.
What if I was like, no, bye.
Yeah. No, but like, I'm serious, like, because I feel like there might be people who would say, actually, I find it draining, but it's kind of part of the reciprocity of being in this community, and the other benefits of the community make it worth doing that. Or, you know, I definitely think that there are people who, you know, choose not to brainstorm that much with other writers. And so just, I mean, I know you, and so I know the answer, but some people watching might not know your answer. It just happens.
brain just starts going, you know,
Yeah.
like it just, yeah, I can't help it. But I do find it helpful. I think that was the question, but
Yeah.
yes.
Are there benefits to that state? Even if you are kind of giving more than you're getting in that state, the benefit of that state is what for you?
I think like yes, because I think to me it's often if it's like my project that we're talking about or brainstorming or something, like even me explaining something that I want to do, like gets something more concrete in my mind and like expressing the why of why something is what I want to do in a story, like that's helpful as well. So I think even like expressing my ideas and hearing how other people are building off of them, seeing what questions they're asking and stuff like that, it gives you ideas on questions to ask yourself when you're solo brainstorming as
Ooh,
well.
that is a great point. That's a fabulous point. Thank you.
I
All
got there
right.
eventually. It took a
No,
while. But
no, we're not leading you anywhere, right? This road is unbuilt. We paved the way. There's no final destination. Not in this house.
yeah, but I
hate
figured out a
those
destination
movies.
because I wasn't really saying anything.
No, you were. It's a process as we figure out our own answers. You know, maybe this would have been a little more organized if I had been a good co-host or host and sent you guys questions early. So you're working with what you got.
It's fine. I've had them since before 7 a.m. It's now 8:15. So like
Okay.
I've had time to think about this one and I just don't really have a great answer for it because I haven't actually co-written anything.
Wow. But anyway, thank you so much for answering them. You answered them fabulously. Jess, the hot seat moves to you.
I have no issues sharing things with other writers that I trust. Like I don't just share all of my story details in mass on the internet because that seems stupid. I mean, you can if you want, but it's not a decision I'm going to make. But like talking to like you guys or other groups of friends that I have and like knowing the nitty-gritty details of my story and then talking things over with you guys and having you give me ideas or to influence things, I don't have a problem with that because I think I think all authors do that. If you look at even traditionally published authors, especially those that are in, I want to say in our age bracket, but maybe even a little bit older, most of them have like a core group of less than 10 friends who they all bounce ideas off of and do that with each other. So to me, that's not that uncommon, really. We just don't see it because they're, traditionally published authors, and every once in a while you'll see like them post a thing where like there's like 6 of them on a writing retreat or something, and they're doing the exact same thing that we do when we go on writing retreats, which is coming up with ideas for each other's stories. And I think it's fun to see what other people would do with my characters in the situation that I put my character in. Their idea may not always be better because they don't know the character as well as I do, but sometimes it is better. Sometimes it makes more sense than what you have in your brain. So I'm totally fine with that. Do it all the time.
I guess the pressure point that I want to put, like the thing I want to focus on, is you brought up the idea of like sharing your work with people that you trust. And obviously when we all come to this community, when anybody finds any community, it's kind of a little bit random who is in the community that you're stumbling onto. So Jess, my kind of follow-up question is, what, if you're comfortable answering this, because this is like a little personal, but what needs to happen for you in order for you to feel trust within a community in order to share your work?
It's all vibes. My ability to trust people is generally just like all vibes. Like what kind of a feeling do I get from you? Do you give me like a creepy feeling? Do you give me like a gaslight gatekeep girl boss feeling? Like what kind of a feeling are you giving me? That is literally that there is no context. It's just whatever I feel.
So to instruct us on how to correctly manipulate you, what kind of vibes are you looking for in order to gain your trust?
I honestly don't know.
Okay.
Like, I see it more with people I don't want to say people that I don't like, but like
Mhm.
people that I don't necessarily want to communicate with that are part of the community. And also, if I don't communicate with you, that doesn't mean I'm talking about you. It just means that there are people that I don't communicate with for reasons. Some people, the reason is just because, I don't know, you're cool and you intimidate me. Good luck guessing which you are.
That's me.
But right. But like, good luck. But like sometimes like somebody just like gives me a weird vibe for no reason. And I'm like, I'm sure
Mhm.
they're an absolutely wonderful human being. But for some reason, every time they talk, I want to punch them in the face. I don't know what the reason is.
So
It's
I
just
guess
a reason.
so it's more of that, like, would you say your default is to trust and to share, and then it's only if you get bad vibes that you withhold
Yes.
versus okay. So it's
Absolutely.
not that you're actually quite secretive, but then once somebody wiggles their way into your heart, then you share. It's kind of the opposite of a default of wanting to share.
I'm an oversharer until I'm like, you give me a creep vibe.
Okay. Okay. Yes, Nikki, it's you.
It's
you.
not Nikki, actually. I like Nikki. I would never punch them in the face, but whatever.
So, and in your experience, how has that trust that you've given to people been rewarded, or what's the opposite of rewarded? I don't know.
Well, I
What's the word?
became a deity of a cult.
Oh,
So
yeah.
having trust in people can work out in your advantage sometimes.
Mm.
I mean, I
Oh.
think the opposite of a reward is a consequence, right?
Oh, is it a consequence? But I feel like punishment is
Yeah,
the word I was
punishment,
looking for.
And consequences can be positive or negative.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What is the punishment? I don't know. I think my punishment of trusting people is that well, so there's this thing on the internet where people only want to be my friend because they want to be Kate's friend, and they think if they're my friend, they can be Kate's friend. There's that thing. There is that. I do have that. Now,
Okay.
I finally have gotten to a point where not all of the top 5 videos in my top 5 videos of YouTube ever are all Kate related. We finally reached that point. At some point, somebody was like, "Oh, we actually would like to be friends with her too, not just because we want to be friends with Kate." It's a great time. Love it. That's also another way that I judge people on the creep factor is how soon do they mention their love of Kate upon messaging me on the internet.
Not me being like, okay, I got to scroll back through my DMs. See how fast it was. And yeah, I mean, ooh, this is like a really personal question.
Great.
Are you okay with me potentially asking it with the understanding that you like absolutely do not have to answer it, and you can just be like, oh, boundary.
Ask all the questions. I don't
Okay.
care.
And Kate, obviously would love your insight on this too. How do you feel like that external pressure from the community of feeling like a gateway into this other person's circle, do you feel like that affects your relationship with each other?
No. I don't ever like I think maybe if like Kate and I had rolled in here like as friends on YouTube together and like we knew each other IRL and like rolled in, and I would be like, that Skank Ho has more subscribers than me and everybody just wants to be my friend because she's popular. Like I would probably feel a little different, but like because we just hopped in at the same time, and I guess I just grasped the concept that some people are more palatable than other people, and so therefore people would, you know what I mean? Like it's for the same reason that I don't like people for absolutely no reason. People don't like me, they don't need to have a reason, and that's fine. So I don't know. I don't hold it against Kate that I'm less palatable than her.
Can I also say, so Jess and I, we did start making videos like around the same time-ish. And I think we made them for a while before I had like one video explode. And that's really kind of what happened. So we'd been like internet friends for a while before then. I also think Jess is much better at like cultivating different communities. I found one and I like bounced out of like watching videos a whole lot too. So I'm trying to get back into it. But like I think Jess is really good about like maintaining friendships and finding new people and all sorts of things. So I think she's got other stuff going on besides just being like the annoying people who message her to say
Yeah,
hi.
absolutely.
I don't get it nearly as much now as I did like 2 years ago. I think
Yeah.
people have like got the hint that like that's not how you behave on the internet.
Mm.
Maybe.
Kate, may I ask you a question with the same disclaimer that I asked Jess? A
Yeah.
question that you can set a boundary.
Mhm.
So, being one of the larger presences in AuthorTube, and there is, and the wording I'm using is not meant to make you feel uncomfortable. It's just the words that are coming to my head. So I apologize if this, like, you're like, oh, I hated the way you phrased that. But like the idea behind community versus fandom, for lack of a better word, and like your relationship with your audience on AuthorTube, I feel like is quite different than someone like me, like the sub 1000s, where I feel like the majority of my subscribers are other AuthorTubers, and it's more writers making content for writers that we also interact with on Discord. How, because you were saying Jess cultivates different communities, what is your current relationship with your community, your subscriber base? And again, you may say, I would not like to say that out loud.
No, I think it's evolved. And it is one of those where, again, I had, I don't know, however many years where it really felt like it was just a group of us all doing the exact same thing that felt like we were on very like the same playing field, where it was just other AuthorTubers making videos and talking about their experience. And we all watched each other. And like that was, it felt at a time more of a community to me. And then with one video, it was just like, oh, so I think it's more just the amount of people. It's harder to keep up with things. I used to be really good about answering comments, and I felt like when I saw a username, I like knew who they were, knew all their history, knew what project they were about to start, and I just like can't keep up with it now. And so sometimes I feel bad about it. And so that it's really more of a me thing than it is a fandom-esque thing. It's more, I guess, I just can't. So I'm trying to get back into the community and just realizing that like I can't remember every username, and that's okay.
But do you feel like because you had that success of that series of videos that garnered a ton of attention, do you feel like, hold on, what was the question? I don't know why this keeps happening. The idea of like, seriously, the idea of the strength of the community and the feeling of community, has it changed for you at all in terms of your channel growing?
Yeah. I feel less of a sense of a community. Like I got my community earlier, and so I'm still like in the space of friends in the same like group chat that I'd made years ago. And I feel like I haven't ventured out of that. It felt like kind of frozen in a time and sense. So but again, it's on me. Like I could come to more troublemaker streams and be like, that would be my community too. Like, there's a lot of stuff I could do to rectify that problem, and I just haven't done it yet. And some of that's like holding on to some things. But
oh, interesting. What are you holding on to? I was going to move that back onto Jess, but now I'm like, oh,
I don't know that was the right phrase. I know. I think it's just yeah.
Wow.
I don't know what I'm holding on to. I need to send it away, throw it into the fire. I don't know.
Fair enough. But yeah, I mean,
I have a question.
Oh, go for it.
Question? Okay.
No, not allowed.
Okay. Well, question for Kate. And I might be kind of framing this incorrectly, but like when you were talking, it did seem like you put a lot of it on yourself to like reach out and be the one to kind of create this community and stuff like that. But I find like, I'm wondering if maybe do you feel like there's any kind of isolation that's like caused by the success that you have? Like, do you feel like people don't reach out to you because they think like, oh, Kate's too busy, or like Kate, you know, Kate's like at this really high level, so like she's not going to want to, you know, interact with the the people down here. Like, do you feel like, and it's very funny to me because like I know that you're not like that literally at all, but like, do you think there is kind of a sense of isolation that you feel from your own success? Deep, maybe too deep of a question, but
No,
anyway.
I actually think it kind of goes back to what Jess has dealt with people messaging her to get something. Sometimes I don't know if people genuinely want to like hang out with me, Kate the writer, or like me, Kate the person with like however many subscribers. So it has been hard for me to like, because I people do reach out and it's me not answering. That's the problem. Again, it's not like I'm sure I could message someone and like maybe I should, but also I could just message back. So
You don't even
Fair
message me back.
I mean, but
Fair
I think
enough.
there's
so many messages.
I think there is something to be said though about having a cup that is full. I mean, going back to the original question of what was the catalyst for seeking out AuthorTube or some form of community, and your answer was that you had tried IRL and failed, not failed, but just didn't find the success you were looking for, and so you moved online, and you still have that initial group chat, you still have that cluster of friends that you came into AuthorTube with, and that maybe that was the cup that you needed. And so then it can evolve into something else. It can evolve into this platform that you have. And maybe it doesn't have to be, you know, what it used to be. It can be different. But because like you were saying, Jess, and I want to get back to this point of the fostering lots of different little communities, you were saying you could be doing those things. Do you have a desire in you to be doing those things? And that's a legitimate question.
Yeah,
You do.
No, I totally do, because I do
Okay.
miss that sense. I don't feel
Okay.
we've kind of gone back where I'm like,
Okay.
okay, I have this group, but I'd like to have more groups. I see people doing things. I'm like, that is so cool. I want to be friends with them. So like, no, I totally, I just need to actually like, what is it? Moving's the hardest part. Like starting's the hardest part.
Sure.
That's what I need to do.
All right. Well, what I'm hearing, everybody in chat, is that Kate needs us to adopt her
Yes.
into the cult.
Yes.
How do you feel about being indoctrinated?
I'm here, so I'm.
That is true. That is true. But Jess, I wanted to kind of, sorry for tangenting for so long. I did want to return to Kate's point about you. I'm really sorry if you hear a lot of crackling. My hair is like really bumping up against my AirPods, so I don't know if that's doing anything. But Jess, you, with all of these different things that you foster, you had what was once the Worldwide Write-a-thon, but is now the Hearths. I'm so sorry. One more time. The Writer's Hearth? Storyteller's Hearth.
There you go.
Thank you. Thank you. Storyteller's Hearth, which is a fabulous write-a-thon that happens multiple times a year. What are some of the other communities that you feel you have fostered? And also talk about why you go through that effort of creating these communities.
I don't think I do it on purpose.
Okay.
I don't think so. I think you would have to be a specific type of person, and maybe some of you will get this, but like in high school, junior high, high school, whatever, like you would go into a cafeteria if you went to public school. I don't know. And like there would be, you know, you would have like the jocks at a table and like the band geeks at a table and the math nerds at a table or whatever. Like there was always like these multiple friend groups. And I was just genuinely one of those people that even as a freshman in high school could have went and sat with the senior jocks, like the senior football players, and they would have just been like, hey, Jess, what's up? Like, I have always been that person who has always been like a friend floater, a friend group floater.
Mm-hmm.
I've been able to just, maybe it's like a chameleon aspect. I don't know. I'm always able to just like insert myself into any friend group and just assimilate. Is that a good thing? I don't know.
I was
But
going
I
to
feel
say, like with that, it almost sounds like a survival mechanism. With that, do you find though that you're still able to find real deep and true connection with people? Do you allow that?
Well,
Sorry,
I believe
that is so
no.
personal. I'm so
I believe
sorry.
we talked about this the last time it was me and you and Steve Fascia, Katie.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually said, like, I feel like I'm really good at helping people find their people, but not necessarily always finding my people. However, as a caveat to that, I think in YouTube, I found my people first because I
Oh, yeah.
found Kate and Phoebe and Becca. And so, like, those are my people. And
Mhm.
so, in this one instance, I found my people before I helped other people find their people. So,
I think that's an amazing point, and I also think that that is kind of one of the beautiful things about AuthorTube being what it is, being this small little micronation of micronations on this one tiny little corner of YouTube. And that I think that that is what really happens because you foster these individual connections first, and then potentially a bigger thing happens. But I don't know. That's Kate and Jess are the people who can speak to that. But yeah, we kind of got a little off topic from the main question, but I'm obsessed with the direction that that whole conversation went. Thank you so much for opening yourselves to talking about that stuff. Jess, did you want to speak to your experience co-writing if you have any?
I don't have any. I have
Okay.
none.
So then I'm glad that we had that fabulous tangent that we could go on. I just want to say I haven't been giving my 2 cents, like I haven't been answering the questions, but I do want to say, I find it so amazing that everybody here is so generous with their ideas and their collaborations with other writers, because I'm personally, that is something I really struggle with. I feel like I'm quite selfish in terms of my ideas. Like Miranda, I saw that little what face. If someone asked me to beta read for them and their story is already fully fledged out and stuff like that, I'm more than happy to read it and give my thoughts and dive in with them there. I think for me, where my selfishness comes in is when we are in the beginnings of a project. And that's why I don't think I could ever truly co-write with someone. And Katie, don't let this go to your head, but I think I might be able to co-write with Katie just because of our creative energy. But I don't even know that for sure because we fight so intensely. So that could be the end of it all.
Yeah,
I don't
like,
even know.
You think that until you have
That would
ideas
be
that are
the
different,
schism.
and Katie's like, it's the vision for
Well,
the project. I can't
well,
change it.
But that's what I mean. That's what I find interesting is that when I'm with Katie, for some reason, when we're talking about creative things, for some reason, I have an easier time ceding control. Now, that's not always true, but she's like the only person. Again, Katie, I can feel your head going, whoosh, but don't. Yeah, this is the vibe. We'd either be brilliant or we'd kill each other. But I find though, that's true. That's true. So toxic, but so true. But I think that I am quite selfish in my ideas, and that's something that I'm constantly fighting against because I do think, again, Katie, I hate that I'm complimenting you so much. In my experience with Katie, truly, I have never experienced such fabulous creative energy as I have in working with her in the earliest forms of story collaboration. And I honestly think it's an incredibly beautiful experience. And I want to be able to foster that. And it's why I have in the past tried to be very open about my writing process on the internet. But then in the moments where somebody is telling me about this fledgling story idea they have, I'm like, ooh, or you could do it like this. And part of me is like, keep that inside because that is your nugget. Yeah, Kate, do you
Can
have
I
a
ask,
yeah.
is it just an energy thing or is there something that like Katie's giving to you? Like, is there something specific that she's doing that allows you to be more open about it?
Oh, that is such a good question. I have no idea. I think it's her openness to critique because I think there have been people in real life experience where you try and give feedback and it's taken very personally it's always a time receiving feedback on your work or giving feedback, and I take critique very intensely even if it's not of my own work. Like if someone's critiquing my critique of their work and I feel I have been misunderstood, then I take that really intensely because I hate the idea of hurting someone. Whereas with Katie, when I read her story for the first time, and, you're very nervous because it's your friend. And, at the time we were friends, but we weren't as close as we are now. And, I was like, oh, I don't want to mess up our friendship because I think this is something really great and that I want to foster. And that first time that we sat down and I said, okay, here's this idea. And she met me on that level of, this is spaghetti at the wall. This is an understanding of like, I enjoyed the book and now I'm not here to tear it down. I'm just here to really pick it apart and analyze it. And if we put it back together exactly the same way, that's fine. But there's something so much fun in building in this sandbox and seeing if there can be improvements, and her ability to take all of those ideas, not personally, of like, unless you tell her to change the, age group at which she, like, for her audience, then she'll come for your throat. But no, but like within the context of the story itself, she's just so open to having it be like completely ripped apart. And even if that's not where she intends to go, she'll still follow you down that path of be like, oh, interesting. And da-da-da-da. And from that, I learned how to do that as well. And I think that is why sometimes our partnership works. Other times, not so much, just depends on the day. But, but I think though that I hope that I could bring that level of creative effort into another project, but I just would have to have someone who's equally as open, because I think if I had someone who I was talking to and they start taking things personally, then they shut down and I start to shut down, and then it's not collaborative anymore. So I don't know if that answered your question, Kate. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you guys so much. Should we do one more sprint? I mean, I feel like we should, because we've done one 25-minute sprint and a 13-minute sprint. Do you have time for another sprint?
I might
Miranda?
have to bounce out during the sprint, so farewell. But
I also am short on time.
Well, then let's just end it. Like, you guys we got
choose your own adventure in terms of how long the last sprint is, and then just start writing. And...
No, we got in 38 minutes of sprinting for a 2-hour stream. I really was like, this sprint in Shoptalk is gonna be so good. Wait, I didn't go over anybody else's answers. Oh my god. No. Wait. How much time do you have, Miranda? Truly.
I have to pee so bad.
Okay. I'm so sorry. Wait, okay, Miranda.
It's okay. I can also just bounce out and you can read some comments. Like, I don't need, I want you here, but
that's okay. You can go. Would you like to introduce yourself before we go to the comments? Okay, everybody, this is Miranda. You can follow her on Instagram. You don't have to find me
anywhere. Like,
it's true.
Yeah, it's fine. True. I'll be in the troublestream on Friday forever. Bye.
Thank you so much for being here. Farewell. Bye. And Jess, I swear I'm gonna wrap this up. I'm so sorry, guys. I completely forgot about the comments because I was so engrossed. I am 40 minutes behind on the comments.
Yes, you are.
Okay, here we go. Danny says, even though I talk a lot about my stories, I only share my actual writing with people I trust as friends and writers, so I'm always open to their feedback and ideas. Once again, though, I have that idea of like, for you, Danny, are you the way Jess is, where it's you have a default of trust, or are you the kind of person where you have a default of suspicion and people have to earn your trust? Boom. Laura says, I'm in a few micro communities with AuthorTube. Through them, I found a developmental editor, fabulous, who has great feedback for my horror collection and was a good influence on giving character motives. Love that. Katie says, I find that I become a better writer by listening to other people and their ideas. Even if I don't take their ideas, I often find sparks flying off their ideas and it helps me think of new things. I think that's great too. Laura continues, said, I found my author voice through reading a writing craft book, The Anatomy of Prose by Sasha Black. Since then, I may have influenced others through my writing description workshops and beta reader feedback. I have never co-written something. I'm open to it, but both opportunities fell through. I feel like we would have to comb over each other's chapters to meld out styles. That's another thing that's like of interest, is if you have really different writing voices. Mon says, I don't think sorry, Kate, did you?
I was literally just going to say Becca and Hannah kind of solved for that problem by having them, they wrote two very different characters, but like the same story. So it accounts for the tone difference.
Yeah, which in a way is kind of good, because sometimes when you're one single author writing a multi-POV, because you have such a distinct writer voice, potentially everything melts together. So having different writers for each POV can help distinguish the characters. Yeah. Mount says, I don't think I could ever co-write unless it's like a dual POV and each of us writes a POV and it becomes a bit more of a let's see where this goes, but otherwise too much of a control freak. I totally get that. Ink Study says, I have 2 different projects I'm co-writing, and it's something I never thought I'd do, but I'm happy I did it. And it showed me different ways to look at a story and character arcs. Co-writing is definitely something I tell writers to try to see if it's for you. In my opinion, it's a good way to level up your writing, whether it's for you or not. You'll take something away from the experience. That's great. Malin says, however, I do like bringing in actual problems I have to friends who, e.g. Anna Robbins, who even become my lovely and amazing CPs this year, because bouncing solutions and ideas off each other is great. And also from Laura, I get tons of my Drabble story ideas from chats on lives. Oh, that's great. The conversation does not affect the prose, but it sparks the idea. One even sparked my vampire romance novel I worked on for Nano. I love that. That's amazing. Crystal says, I'm mostly open to the idea. There's actually a character that exists mostly because it was a joke my betas had. Then it was a serious idea. And now it's canon. I co-wrote a story with a friend of mine back in high school. He's now my first CP, and it's such a high level of cringe that we both agreed never to speak on it again. I love that. That's amazing. JC Carpenter says, I'm open to letting some other writers influence my work with some ideas. I do have to trust the other writer I'm bouncing ideas off of so they won't run off and co-opt the ideas their own. Oh, see, that's something I really want to understand is different levels of people's trust and how that is built. There was incredible commentary happening all throughout our, and also Girls 18 site, new dating online, guys. Where are my moderators? Are they removing these? I don't even know.
Yes.
Katie? Okay, good. Anyway, so anyway, Katie is dropping a link to a podcast. If you like tennis, she and Miranda have started a new podcast. So have a good time. Guys, I so apologize for everything that happened today.
Listen, it's called sprints and shop talk. We sprinted plural. That's sprints. And we talked shop. So we did
That's
exactly
true.
what we were supposed to
We
do.
did 2 sprints. And it's not my fault the dice only picked 13 minutes.
No.
I was committed to do it. Well, I wasn't committed at all. I was being a little chicken coward. I was like, I really truly am so appreciative of everybody. Obviously my co-host, you guys, thank you for coming and meeting me on this level and being willing to talk about things and getting pretty personal about it. I apologize for my audacity. And chat, thank you so much for being here and giving your thoughts. It's just always so rewarding to get everybody's variety of opinions on all these subjects. So thank you so much. I'm going to remove this banner. Happy day 3 of Januwrimo. Happy day 2 of the week of trouble. Tomorrow will be Grape Fry. She is streaming. I have forgotten at what time. I want to say 4 p.m. Eastern, but that might be Stieg. So just don't. It should be in the Discord, in the calendar. If you're part of the Troublemaker Discord, the library, the stream schedule will be in the calendar section. Kate and Jess, do you guys have any final words? Would you like to introduce yourself? Feel free. No.
Nope.
No from Kate. Jess, would you like to introduce yourself?
I will introduce myself by saying that you were correct. Devacia is tomorrow at 4 p.m. EST.
Oh, yeah. Look who is on it, on top of it. Okay. And I'm Wally Sumo. I am not linked below. Whatever. It doesn't matter. Also, Katie Ann Wrights is very close to 1,000 subscribers. I don't know if there's anybody here who's not already subscribed to her because this is Januwrimo and this is her event. But if by chance you are not, she makes incredible content and I'm here to hype her up until she gets to 1,000 and then cutting ties with her. So, and I'd really like to get out of this relationship. So help a girl out. Anyway, have a great rest of your day, guys. Katie didn't make me an outro. Hello, Catherine. Whatever, it's fine. Bye. Miranda really had to go. She had to go piss girl.